We are discussing about Unit 2. In this Unit 2, we have learned lists, data frames, classes, factors, and an application which works with a deck of cards. Come to the quick recap of the Unit 2 topics till now which we have learned. We have learned about class attribute. This class attribute gives the format of the data. What is the format of this data it is going to give us? Next we have learned factor. That is, if we have a string vector, how many unique values are there? It is going to count and it is going to give us in the format of levels. In the format of levels it is going to give. Later we have learned two important structures. One is list, another one is data frame. List is a container of different OR objects. Means list can able to hold vectors, data frames, matrices, arrays, lists itself. Means different objects it can able to hold. And data frame, it's a two-dimensional data structure. So you can able to store a data in the form of rows and columns. And we have seen one application also how this data frame is going to help. That is how to shuffle a deck of cards. A deck of cards. In this application, we have learned that how to create a CSV file, and after that how to load that CSV file into R environment, that is R Studio, which is an important IDE, integrated development environment. In this environment, how to load we have learned. After loading that, with the help of a sample function, how to generate random values and how to shuffle the data, and finally how to create the functions. These are all we have learned. And if you observe at the end in this deck of cards application, we have learned that how to select a card. How to select a card. We have learned how to select a card from the 52 cards. While we are selecting, we have used the indexing concept. Means in square brackets, we are going to write the index value. Now the question arises that what are the different ways we have to select this data? That is, do we have to use only the numerical values, or can we use any other values like zero value or logical value? This we are going to learn in this session. So, our topic name is selecting the values. What are the different ways we have to select the values? We are going to call this as R notation system. R programming notation system. How we are going to note the values, how we are going to select the values. The primary notation system is indexing system. For example, assume that we have created a vector with some numerical values. We can represent the vector in this format. Here we have value 20 and 30, 40, 50. Like this we have 4 values in a vector. and the indexing is starts from 1 in R programming language. So here we are going to put the index value 1, 2, 3 and 4. Assume that its name is vec1. So now the point is how we are going to select the values. If I want to select this value 40, what I will do is that I am going to write down vec1 and in square bracket I am going to put the index value, that is 3. This is the way I am going to use the indexing to select the values, and this concept is the primary mechanism. And if it is a data frame is going to be two-dimensional structure. So to select a value we have to use row value and column value. So there we are going to separate this space with a comma, and before comma we are going to use a row value, and after this comma we are going to use a column value. So row value tells that which row we have to select, and column value tells that which column we have to select. So in this way we are going to use this indexing concept. But this class is essentially going to talk about the 6 different ways we have to access this indexing one. 6 different ways we can access, and in this talk we are going to learn what are the ways. This is an important thing because this is a versatile thing to select the values. The R programming allows us to select the values with ease with different ways. See this. These are the 6 ways we can use indexing. A positive integers can be used as index values, and negative integers can be used, and a 0 can be used, a blank space can be used, logical values can be used, and names of the columns can be used. So the positive integers can be a 1, 2, 20, 30. This is going to be our index values. So what it will do, in this position which value is there, that value it is going to return. That is the positive integer, and you can use the negative integer also. What this negative integer will do is, it is going to delete that value. It's not deleting, it is not going to select that one. This negative indexing is inverse to positive one. It is inverse to positive integer. When we can use this one? Suppose I have 1000 values and I wanted to drop only 2 or 3. It means that I am going to select 9,997 values. Out of 1000 values, I am going to select 997 and I am going to leave only 3 values. Instead of using the index values of 997, better to use that 3 values which we wanted to omit. That omitting is possible with this negative index. This is going to be an interesting one. And 0 indexing, of course, we don't have much use of this. And blank spaces, if you don't give any index value, obviously it is going to select all the objects, whether it can be a list or a vector or data frame or matrices or anything. If you don't pass any value as an index one, the R is going to treat that the user is asking me to pick all the values. And logical values. Here we have only two logical values, two possibilities. One is true, another one is false. So if you put true, that index location, whatever the value is present in that location, that value is going to be returned. If you put false, that it is going to not return. I'll show you an example. For example, here we have a vector with 20, 30, 40 and 50 values. Let's suppose I wanted to select only 30 and 40. These two I wanted to select. How I can do this with the help of this logical indexing? I can put here true, true and here false and false. So this what I can do is that if its name is a vec1, okay, I can put that vec1 of false comma true comma false. This is how I can able to index the values. Wherever I put false, it's not going to select. Wherever I put true, it's going to select. And names. If I have the column name, then I can use that column name to select that values. We are going to see all these methods with examples. Let's talk about positive integers. How these positive integers can be used to access the values. Let's see that, okay, we have created a vector with 3 plus 3, 6 values, and this is the syntax how we are going to create the vector. And this is an example to select the third index, that is this one. So the indexing is going to be like this. Here it's going to be 1, here it is going to be 2 and 3, 4, 5, 6. This is how the indexing values will be there. And we wanted to select the third value. So we have written the vector name, and in square brackets we have put that index value 3, and it's going to give me the output 30. And further I can use a colon operator. This is a range operator. Range operator, which tells us that what is the starting index and what is the ending index. So here in our case we are starting with first index and we are ending with third index. So first to third. So 3 values, these all values are selected. Same way, if you don't want to use this range operator, you can mention the index values in a vector itself. This is my vector, and in this vector I have mentioned that I wanted to select the first index and second index and third index. I got the same output. So these are the various ways with the help of these positive integers I can able to access the values. So we have learned one method how to use this positive integers to access the values. Let us see the next one. Wow. For this one, we are going to use the same vector where we have 6 values. And what I have done here, the vector name I have written, and I said that -3. And what was our vector? Our vector was with 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 and 60. This was our vector. And the index values are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the third index was this one. So what happened? The third index 30 is missing here. So the negative indexing, what it will do, it is going to omit that value. Where you put that index, that value it is going to omit, and the rest of the all other values it is going to give. So you can see that it has given the 5 values 10, 20, 40, 50, 60. It has left this one. Why? Because we kept it as -3. Interesting one. And even the range operator also works with -1. See this, -1 to -3 as it. So we are saying that you omit the first 3 values. The index range starts from -1 to -3. So it counts like this: -1 and -2 and -3. These 3 values it is going to. What happens here? The first index is going to be omitted, second is omitted, and third is going to be omitted. So ultimately you are going to get only rest of 3. This 40, 50 and 60 you are going to get. So this is the use of negative indexing. We'll see further how to use this 0. Actually we don't have much use with 0. 0 is generally used to create a blank vector. So it is used to create blank objects. It can be a list, a vector, or a data frame. It can be anything. If you put the 0, okay, it says that nothing, because in R the indexing starts from 1. So because of that there is no meaning of 0. So that's why it's going to give us an empty vector. Here if you observe that one, we have given the index value 0, and what the output we got is its data type we got. The R is showing that the vector 1 is, it's a numeric type. It is showing. So it's not a big use. Come to this blank spaces. Blank space is empty space. You are not mentioning any index value. It means that there is nothing to select or deselect. There is nothing to select or deselect means we have to select the entire thing. That R understands that I have to throw the entire R object. What are the values which contains? Our vector 1 contains 6 values, and the 6 values it has returned. And this is the case with all objects. It can be matrix, it can be list, or it can be data frame. We are going to learn how this axing works with data frame in further classes. So, till now we have learned how to use positive value, how to use negative value as an indexing one, as an index value, then 0 value, and blank space. 4 ways we have learned. And the important thing, very interesting one, logical values. As we have already learned that R programming has only 2 logical values. One is true, another one is false. And in short, true is represented as T and false is represented as F. So wherever we put this true, that index is accessible. So we are instructing the R to access that indexing value. If you put F, you just omit that value. So that is the concept of this logical value usage. If you observe here, this is our vector, and we know that in our vector we have 6 values: 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 and 60. So from these 6 values we wanted to select 2 values, and what we have done is we have put true at first index value, then 2, 3 and 4th index value and 5th index value. Rest of other places we have kept false. And if you observe, I have kept all these true false values into a vector. I kept in a C function. C function is used to create a vector in R. So we have passed a vector as an index to this R object vector 1. So what it will do, it is going to select the first index value and the 4th index value and the 5th index value. Because of that, the output we got is 10, 40 and 50. Because of that, we got the output as 10, 40 and 50. The same we can mention in short form also. Here I am showing it in short form. The first index value and the third one and 4th, 5th, 6th value. So here the output we got is 10, 30 and 60. Assume that we have so 7th value also. So this is how the logical indexing we can use. And we are going to see the more practical usage of these logical values in 3rd unit, where we are going to use logical operators and Boolean operators, and these operators how we are going to use to generate a sequence of logical values. When I use less than operator or greater than operator or and operator, like if I use these operators, how this sequence is going to generate, and by using that sequence how we are going to access the values, how we are going to select the values we are going to see. Now we have a last way, that is a 6th different way to access the values is with the help of the names. When we are talking about the data frames, we have learned the function called the names. What this will do, it is going to give us the column names of the data frame. What are the column names we have? We can able to see for a data frame. So the same way here we can use these names. Let's see how we are going to use this one. The first what we have done is that we have created a vector, and assume that these 3 are the register numbers of the students: 7001, 7002, 7003. So 3 students register numbers, we kept it into one vector and we named it as vector 1. Now I want to add the names, or I want to give the names to these values. So what I have done is, with the help of this names function, I have added the names. See here, In names function, I have passed the vector 1. So these three values are passed to this function, names. And here the names we have given Rajesh, Suresh and Ramesh. When we see the output of this vector 1, you are going to get this output. Here this is the Rajesh and his value, and Suresh is value, Ramesh is value. So here the index values are, this index value will be 1, this index value will be 2 and this index value will be 3. But instead of using this index values, I can able to use this names also. This is another way of accessing the values. So here what I have done, vector 1 of Rajesh, I have passed this name. So previously in vector we used to pass only the numerical value as a positive or negative or a blank value or logical value. Now we have passed the string itself, that is a column name. So what we got is, we have got this object. If I have passed more than one value, I need to use this vector form, that is the C function. This is an essential point you have to remember. That is, whenever you want to access more number of values, you have to use or you have to pass those all values in the form of a vector. So we need to put all these values into a vector, and that vector we have to pass as an argument or as an index value. So we have done that. So we have got this output. So come to the summary of this topic. In this session we have learned 6 different ways of accessing the values or selecting the values. A small topic this is, and very important topic. 6 types of indexing methods. One is positive integer, that we are going to put a negative integer value, we are going to use a negative value. And a blank space, we are going to leave the space as empty. And the logical values, we are going to use either true or false value. And 0, we are going to use the 0. And names, we are going to use a column name. So when I use this positive integer, it is going to return the value which is present in that index position. And if I use negative index, it will do opposite to this positive one. It is going to omit the value which is present in that index position. And if I use blank, it is going to return all the values. And if I use logical values, wherever I put true, it is going to select that value. Wherever I put F, that index location value, it is going to vomit. And 0, if I put, it's no big use, it is going to use it to create an empty OR object. So nothing is going to select. It is going to return the data type of that OR object. It is going to return data type of that OR object. And finally, names. I can use the column names to access the values. So with this, we have learned the main topics of Unit 2. Of course, we have completed the Unit 2. Thank you for watching.